The government's levelling up policy has been a disaster. Levelling up was one of Boris Johnson's flagship policies aimed at reducing geographical inequality across the UK. Given the success of the Conservative government in the so-called Red Wall seats, this seemed to be a smart policy, providing funding that would finance projects aimed at correcting the imbalance between different regions of the country, delivering real projects, real change in parts of the country that seem to be losing out in terms of prosperity and investment. It appeared that more deprived areas of the country would see real changes such as enhanced infrastructure and improved access to quality education and health care. However, this initiative has totally failed to deliver any substantial results, at least so far, and the level of incompetence shown in actually implementing this policy is shocking. A recent report from the House of Commons Committee of Public Accounts gave a really damning assessment on the performance of the levelling up funding to local government so far. It found that of the total £10.47 billion available for levelling up, only £3.7 billion had actually been received by local authorities. Of this, only £1.24 billion had actually been spent and was therefore making a difference on the ground. Only 12% of the financing was actually being spent on real projects. Of the £2.46 billion that has been allocated to local authorities but not yet spent, the committee found that over 80% of the Levelling Up Round 1 projects were set to miss their March 24 completion deadline. This was despite the fact that the projects were picked because they were so-called shovel-ready. The Brexit deal, oven-ready. Levelling Up projects, shovel-ready. Good rhetoric, good PR, but terrible implementation, terrible, incompetent government. The committee said that we found this astonishing given round one of the Levelling Up Fund was awarded to shovel-ready projects that were supposed to be completed and delivering for local people by March 2024. Astonishing means extremely surprising. The language is important here. They weren't just surprised, they were astonished. They further stated that the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities could not give us any compelling examples of what had been delivered so far. The committee was specific about the problems it found: a worrying lack of transparency in the awarding of funds. It said that this approach has wasted scarce public resources and caused some local authorities to miss out. It pointed out that the department changed the rules for the fund as it went along. It continues, it was found that the bidding process for funds had led to a begging bowl culture where councils were required to spend too much time and money to meet ever-changing demands of ministers rather than planning for the long term to truly deliver for their communities. The policies became bogged down in admin and red tape. Often in my videos, when I say that government should be spending more on a particular policy area, many of you comment that government is inefficient and can't be trusted with taxpayers' money. Here's the proof that you're right, and of course I agree with you. We do need a whole new breed of politicians because this just isn't good enough. The committee notes that the local government associations estimated the average cost to councils of pursuing each competitive grant was around £30,000. Each local authority spent roughly £2.25 million per year trying to access these funds. The level of incompetence does seem astonishing. I think the government's idea was to create a kind of competition that projects would bid against each other and the best ones would emerge. This clearly hasn't happened. It's just more neoliberal junk. One anecdote reported in the FT was that Durham Council paid consultants £1 million to draw up 5 lengthy applications according to the exacting criteria and tight deadlines. All 5 of these bids were rejected. Can you believe this? The consultants made £1 million in this case. And this is a time when local authorities are struggling to stay afloat, starved of funding from government for the past decade of austerity. You couldn't make this up. It's a disaster. And it wouldn't be surprising if those consultants were based in London. In response, Michael Gove has said that the levelling up policy is like a half-built cathedral and a work in progress, that people should wait another 6 years before judging the progress. This has no credibility given that more than 80% of the initial projects were not meeting their March 24 deadline, as I said earlier. This is a policy that was designed to deliver quick results. Levelling up was a PR idea, a marketing strategy for Boris Johnson's 2019 general election campaign. However, exactly as happened with Brexit, it was only after Boris Johnson was actually elected that people started thinking how it could be done. It's terrible policy making. Sell an idea without any substance, pure election strategy. I think Johnson probably was passionate about the project, but the guy is so clueless and so out of touch. It was reported in the press that when he was asked what levelling up meant in practice, he said jokingly, a Waitrose supermarket and an opera house in every town in the country. People were actually hoping for high-speed broadband or high-speed trains. Oh well. I think that the cancellation of the Manchester leg of the high-speed train project is a perfect illustration of the government's failure to actually make any real commitment to the levelling up agenda. High-speed rail would be a massive catalyst for economic growth in the north. In the end, the government has prioritised fiscal austerity over the economic transformation that levelling up aims to achieve. Disappointing, incompetent, astonishing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.